All right, so with the deadlock season in full swing now, whenever it comes to War Thunder, there's one thing I always get asked, Dog, what is your favorite vehicles that you'd want to be added in this update? And well, this video is going to answer them, and we're also going to have a little bit of fun for this video as well. So the update's coming. Right now, we know that the Warspite is coming for at least naval, and there's been some sneaky leaks whenever it comes to stuff like the F-18 Hornet, and then vehicles for like Italy whenever it comes to a new premium. So yeah, maybe they'll be real, but at the same time, we can still speculate of what I would just love to see. Remind you of this. This is not a leak list. This is nothing like that. So this is just what I would want to see. And also put in the comments, because not everyone's going to be the exact same whenever it comes to vehicles that they still want to see within War Thunder. But at least for me, I'm still on this topic of I want unique vehicles. I want vehicles which are going to play differently than what we have in the game right now. And honestly, in my humble opinion, I really want more lower tier vehicles within the game. So yeah, that's basically what we're going to be focusing on whenever it comes to these vehicles. But let's start out with the first one, which is going to be the T29 with a rangefinder. So the specific variant of the T29 that we're talking about right now is the T29E3. This is a vehicle that you can actually currently see right now whenever it comes to the Fort Moore Museum down in Georgia. I've actually been to it. It's really, really cool to see all the tanks and all that sort of stuff there. But in my personal opinion, the picture that I took of the T29E3 is probably one of the best tank photos I've probably ever made, and I really do like this photo. It is something that I'm really proud of actually taking. But at the same time, it's a vehicle that honestly, even though I'd really love to see it within a game, it kind of serves a purpose for the American tech tree as a whole. Because right now, whenever you're looking at the heavy tank line for America, you go for the T34 all the way down to the T32, which is 7.3. The thing about it is, while yes, this is not that huge of a gap, you still have a lineup between the T34 and the T32, which is 7.0. You have the M46, you have the T92, you have the T95. All of these vehicles are within 7.0 lineup, but the only thing that you're kind of missing is a heavy tank. So this one would slot in perfectly with that 7.0 lineup. The only real difference that you would have with the premium T29 is the rangefinder, and honestly that would probably be the exact same except for the tech tree one for once would actually be a little bit more powerful because you'll be able to range find things faster. It's not a laser rangefinder, it's nothing like that. It's just one of those that's very similar to the one on the Tiger II 105, where you would be able to range find targets a little bit further out and it'd be a little bit quicker. So overall, I feel like this is a really good addition to the American tech tree. It fits a gap that they have right now, which is they don't really have a 7.0 heavy, and then also at the same time it bolsters the lineup of 7.0, which I honestly think is overall pretty good, and you just don't get thrown into 7.3 because you grinded out the T34 first. So yeah, I really do think this is going to be a really good addition to the American tech tree, because then you'll have a tech tree heavy tank at that battle rating, and then also it will go very well with the premium one as well. So yeah, I really love the T29, I really love the T30, all these series of tanks. I'm really honestly surprised they survived all the way to the modern day. And honestly, some of the very best tanks to even look at, especially the T29E3 without the muzzle brake. I don't know, the gun just looks very sleek, and I really do like this sort of gun. So these next set of vehicles I'm actually going to combine. So there's actually going to be a ton of these guys because they basically all do the exact same thing, which is going to be Bishop, the Hummel, the M7 Priest, and then finally for the last one that I really think is kind of special to talk about is the FE433, which is the Abbott. If you don't know what this vehicle is, it's basically a very small SPH. And honestly, in my opinion, one of the biggest complaints that I have with War Thunder adding all of these SPH machines within the game is that most of them use a 155. And one of the things that I really do not like about the game is that, like, you'll go into top tier and most of your tank cannons will be a 125, a 120, or 105. That's probably one of the biggest things that you'll see. The thing that kind of annoys me is whenever you play a 155mm howitzer tank, the next one is basically going to be the exact same. The M109 and then the M44s, I mean, they kind of play the same, to be honest with you. But whenever you actually introduce a new type of gun, like on the Abbott, for example, it's a 105 instead of a 155, or you go to stuff like the Bishop, which is going to be a 25 pounder. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, I feel like that's going to mix up the playstyles a ton whenever it comes to these SPHs, because some of these vehicles will have actually a difficult time overpressuring, and overpressuring within War Thunder is very, very, very reliable once you go over probably like 150mm cannon. So in my opinion, these things will take a little bit more skill to use, and then also at the same time, it'll just be fun. Like, I feel like that's one of the things War Thunder always needs to strive to do, is just be fun. And if I'm running around with a 105, or run around with a Bishop, or run around with an M7 Priest or a Hummel, like, I feel like whenever you donk somebody, it's going to be feeling very, very reliable. Are very fun, I mean, whenever it comes to that sort of thing. But yeah, these vehicles I honestly think are some of the ones that I'd really want to see whenever it comes to this SPH category. I honestly hope, at least for War Thunder's sake, that they start to actually go down into the World War II battle ratings whenever it comes to these things, because there's just a ton of these little guys everywhere. And honestly, they should be very fun to play, even if they do have subpar guns, let's just say. But at the same time, I really would love to see these sort of things, and it's going to be my number 2 thing, which is more SPHs just in general, and then especially the lower tier ones, which I'd really love to see. So the next tanks we have here is actually a family of tanks, and surprisingly enough, they've never actually been added to the game except for one of them, which is the ELC BIS. But funny enough, there's actually a bunch of these guys. You have the ELC even 90, you have the ELC even 30, you have the 120, I think is recoilless cannons, and then also you have the SS11 one, which I think honestly is just kind of funny. But I'm honestly surprised that these have never been event vehicles, they've never been battle pass, they've never been premiums. Basically, they've just been gone to the ether, and it's probably some of the most, like, I would say, well-known tanks whenever it comes to the French tech tree that still have not made it into the game, which I honestly think is just sad. I mean, to be quite honest with you, here's exactly how the ELCs are going to play. The ELC even 30 is going to be just like a Falcon. It's going to run around with the auto cannons and just shoot stuff and then shoot tanks. It's never going to shoot at planes, even though they'll put it in as SPAs. The even 90 will basically play the exact same as like the AMLs and all that sort of stuff, but be a little bit slower, which honestly I would still want to play. The recoilless cannon one, honestly, I don't even know how that one's going to play. It could be pretty good, it could be pretty bad. And then the SS11s, well, we already know how the wonderful Israeli Zaklemtega plays, so I assume it's going to be very similar to that. So yeah, I'm just surprised these guys have never made it into the game. I mean, they're very unique for what they are. They're very special. I mean, like the ELC even 90 is probably my favorite one just because it looks funky. And then also at the same time, it should be pretty decent whenever it comes to actually playing it in War Thunder. But yeah, I feel like it'd be pretty cool to just see these tanks, even if it's just one of them, which I mean, if they add one of them, they can add the other like 3 of them because it's the same hull on each one of these guys and it should be very easy to model whenever it comes to making future variants of the tank. But please, just give us one of them. The ELC BIS, well, yes, I do enjoy that tank. Honestly, in War Thunder, it was not that great just seeing it because the gun just bounces whenever you come to a stop. And honestly, to me at least, not my favorite light tank in the world either, just because of the damage as well. Whenever you're running around a bunch of vehicles at 6.0 with heat FS, I mean, there's going to be like Shermans and there's going to be like people like Tigers that have APHE. You're going to get one shot by them and then they're going to take like 3 or 4 shots with that 90mm heat FS. So yeah, I'd really love to see these guys added to the game, and hopefully they do in the coming updates of War Thunder. So the next vehicle that I'd want to see whenever it comes to War Thunder is going to be Russian, and it's going to be the Object 416. This is actually a pretty unique vehicle because instead of it being like your typical object tank that you think of, maybe the Object 279 or vehicles like that, it's actually a tank destroyer, kinda. Like, I don't know, would you consider this thing more of a tank destroyer or consider it more of a medium tank? That's really one of those things probably a little bit up in the air of what it was going to be. But the Object 416 is a vehicle which has the gun kind of towards the back of the tank, and the front of the tank is going to be your engine. So imagine that you're playing an IS-2. Have you ever been playing IS-2 or you've seen someone playing IS-2 and they're playing it backwards? It's basically kind of the exact same concept, except for your tank would actually be facing forward, which I think honestly is going to be pretty unique. It comes with the 100mm cannon that you'll find on stuff like the T-54s, so it should get access to APHE, probably get access to heat FS, and then also APDS. So honestly, it should just be a very similar T-54. The battle rating is a little bit iffy. I would probably say this is like a 7.377 vehicle kind of in there, but at the same time, no way is it going to be on the same like caliber as a T-54, so it'd probably be around it in those areas of the game. But yeah, the Object 416 definitely is a very unique vehicle. It plays, it just looks funny. Let's put it at that. And one of the tanks that I would really want to see whenever it comes to War Thunder. But it's only been one prototype, so maybe this one could be like a squadron vehicle or something like that, because War Thunder has not really released a squadron vehicle for the lower tiers in quite a while, so this one would be probably a good one to put into the game in general. So the next vehicle that we have here, and it's going to be another American vehicle, and honestly I think it's kind of sad that we've not seen it within the game right now, which is the T-69. Yes, I know it's the funny number, but at the same time it's kind of sad that we've not seen an oscillating tank that America created within the tech tree. I mean, we do have the T-54E1, which was in the premium area, but at the same time it would be really nice to just have a different sort of playstyle like that within the tech tree itself, because these vehicles are very unique, they're very special, and I feel like the T-69 would be a great vehicle to put in there. So basically what it is if you know like the AMX-13s, or you know vehicles that are for France that have the oscillating turrets, America tried that. Well, was it a success? No. Do you see it on the Abrams right now? So it was a project that was canceled, and it really didn't go anywhere. But at the same time, it's a cool, unique aspect into American armored development. And well, at the same time, it would just be really cool to have one within a tech tree, and it would make a little bit difference whenever it comes to the game itself. In my opinion, here's where I would put it. I'd probably put it at 7.7 just because it is going to be a little bit slower than stuff like the back chat. But I assume if people do really well in it, it's probably going to go up into like 8.0 and maybe probably even 8.3 at some point. That'd be just crazy. But we all know how these auto-loading tanks go, but maybe the American player base can keep it lower and we see something like 7.7. But yeah, it's going to be better than like an M47. It's going to have basically the exact same gun except for the autoloader. So in my opinion, 7.7 seems like a very good battle rating for it. But yeah, the T69 would be a really nice tank to put into the tech tree. And hopefully it doesn't come in as an event vehicle or as a premium, because once again, I'm really sad that we've still not seen one whenever it comes to the tech tree itself. And hopefully we see that one in the future. So yeah, honestly, I could spend here all day, every single day, listing off vehicles that should be added to War Thunder. And everyone who goes on about how War Thunder is running out of vehicles, well, I'd probably say they're running out of shiny vehicles. And what I mean by that is vehicles that people really, really want. An example of this would be like the Tomcat, the F-18. All of these types of vehicles are shiny. The Abrams, the Leopards, all these vehicles are what I consider shiny vehicles. And the reason behind that is that they bring a lot of hype to the game. There's not many people, to be quite honest with you, that's going to care about the T69. There's not a lot of people that's going to care about the Bishop. There's not a lot of people that care about those sort of things. But at the same time, I feel like it's very fun to play different vehicles. I feel like it's very fun to have different experiences. And I'm honestly tired of playing 105 L7 derivative cannon on a tank. I would really love to see different things happen. Hopefully we do see that within the upcoming War Thunder updates. And honestly, I mean, I'm kind of excited for this upcoming one because the game has been a little bit stale. And hopefully we get some new things added to it. And hopefully for top tier, we get some SPAs that can actually shoot down planes. And then maybe I'd want to play over 11.3. But as of right now, yeah, the cast is just out of whack right now. And hopefully Gaijin can fix it. But yeah, that's my list. Make sure to leave your list of vehicles that you'd love to see within the game in the comments. And let's see how people think the game should go forward. So I hope everyone has a wonderful day. And we'll see you guys in the next War Thunder video.